All right. Well, wherever two or more are gathered, there's where spirit is.
That's right.
Me and my buddy Bob,
Yeah,
glad that she showed up. Last week nobody showed up. I showed up. That's what's important.
that's right.
I always look at these things after I do them, and they used to say when you gave an AA talk, the one you plan, the one you make, and the one you wished you made. But
Yeah,
I figure, I figure if you're rehearsing, it ain't gonna be near as good as if it's just real and authentic.
yeah, I think that's true.
And I'm not looking for subscribers, anything. I'm doing this for me because I think when we're elders like me, I'm coming on 85, and I'm a Christian. I believe that Christ was. I love to read what he had to say, but a lot of the Bible is. I've looked at the different lost gospels and how the gospels were created because Jesus didn't write them, and God didn't write them. So it's the scribes and the Pharisees. And they crucified Christ, and if you don't watch out, they'll crucify him again if he comes back. So that's why I say in recovery, they say there's maybe touch a little bit about on recovery before I start on the 12 steps, because they say there's only one step you can do perfectly, and that's step one. And what is step one? Well, in AA, we'd say we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives were unmanageable. So I had to have the disease bring me to my knees and get teachable before I could learn a damn thing, because I drank until I couldn't get drunk anymore. I tried my way, and I got lower and lower and lower, and then I couldn't get drunk anymore, and then I had to face the real demons. And so I know what it's like to hit bottom, and I think that's a good place to build from. Because if you build your house on sand, it's liable to crumble. Rock is, they say, rock of ages cleft for me. I remember all those Baptist songs because my grandma took me to the Baptist church. And we listened to those preachers, and they'd get you up there and dump you in that water. They didn't sprinkle you like the Presbyterians say. They immersed you like Brother, Where Art Thou?
Aren't they? Yeah,
Great movie. Let's go down to the river and pray. And the River Jordan. And so I think a lot of prophets like Bob, Bob and his brother have passed on many books my way. And I think there comes to a time when I like what Robert Pirsig said. He said, people who study philosophy are called philosophologists. They know a lot about philosophy, but they don't have a philosophy. So you can study a lot about things and still not see the forest for the trees, the scientific versus the mystical. So in this west direction, the first step of AA is I just changed that. I admit I'm powerless over people, places, and things. That my life's unmanageable. So every morning I gotta wake up, and I wake up in the bondage of self. And I usually stumble to get a cup of coffee. And I've been stopping and drinking some water because I was peeing blood a couple of weeks ago, and it lasted for about 3 or 4 days. And I went in and asked myself, I did a journey and said, you're not drinking water, you are water, so you don't know what water is. So a lot of elders that are water signs die of dehydration, and a lot of fire signs burn themselves out because they got a lot of passion and a lot of fire. But in sweat lodges, we have fire tenders. I mean, somebody tending the fire. And we're moving toward the darkness, which is the west. I was reading an old journal today. Actually, I took a picture of it and I was looking at some of the class material because I always get too much. But I think that the study of the sacred tree and the gifts of those four directions is something that's a lifetime study. It's an amazing process what I've learned just from doing a vision quest and going from gradually. I didn't jump into it. I was making good money as a consultant and spending good money. And my grandpa always said, people always raise their standard of living to accommodate their income. And he says, live simply, but don't lack for anything you want, and know how to trade. So I think I took after my grandpa, Papa Penson. He was a native guy. I mean, he looked the part. He had a big Roman nose, and he said he'd never get lost in the woods. He says, if you know your directions, if you know which way the water flows, and know that the moss always grows on the north side of the tree. So natives know their way in nature. And I spent 4 days and nights on a hill with no food or water, praying for a vision. And I was saying, what in the hell am I doing up here? I'm going to die. And I kept praying. And I kept praying for the gifts of those four directions. And I'd offer my pipe up. And I spent a long time, I spent a year preparing for that ceremony because I made 660 tobacco ties. And each one of those prayers was for one of these gifts of these directions. And but there's so many people teaching, and they want you to subscribe to them. And what matters to me is how I do to myself. You know, how did I do in my eyes? Because I'm my own worst critic by far. And I can have a lot of compassion like my buddy Bob here, which is loving kindness, which is part of the gratitude. Is in recovery, they say those that stay sober a long time develop an attitude of gratitude. And there's promises that come true in AA if you work for them. And that's working those 12 steps, which came right out of the Catholic Church. But for hopeless addicts that are killing themselves, this is there's a part in the big book that I remembered today. It says there's only two sins. What are those two sins, Patrick? Interfering with Bob's growth or interfering with my growth. Those are the only two sins there are. So always do your best. Minimize your expectations because they're planned resentments. So the medicine wheel is just like the cycle of a breath, like Thich Nhat Hanh. The whole being here now. like being focused in the present and being awake, because some people look at things but they don't see them. It took me a long time. Like when I see a hummingbird, I say, wow, there's joy. And people say, I see hummingbirds all the time. I said, but they don't really see them. Because the hummingbird is a harbinger of joy, especially in the Mayan or the Southern Cross down in Machu Picchu, the Inca cross. The hummingbird sits in the north, and the condor sits in the east. And the condor is the one that takes care of all the junk, the trash that people are. It's like one man's trash is another man's treasure. So not everything goes back to mother. But the only people that create waste is humans. Like I don't have much garbage. I put it out for the critters, and most of the stuff that's edible. And them crows come every morning and scream at me and say, I want some first. So I say, hold your horses. And they always come back. And so I read a book called Behaving as If the God in All Things Mattered. So I got these ants that come in here, sugar ants, in the summer. But this is an old house. This house is 1894. And it's got a lot of memories in it. I bought it, and they had a tile business downstairs. They had a kiln up on the third floor that they made the tile. She hand painted it. She was an artist. And it's got a lot of history. There's a lot of spirits in this house. And I took all the smoke detectors out because I like to smudge. And when I make drums, like today, I cut up an elk hide. But I'm learning in the South we have turtle. That's the summer. So we're coming out of the summer into the fall. So we're going into the darkness, school days. My buddy Glenn has been helping me. He came up and pumped up my truck tires. He says, I'll help you. Well, I can. He took some stuff up to Bear Creek for me because I couldn't get in my shop. I had so much scrap. But there's a lot of prisoners that want that scrap and can use it. Well, I say, in nature there is no waste, so the natives wouldn't waste anything. They used the deer bones, everything on that deer. And deer toe rattles. And I've had the great honor of skinning out a deer and asking permission to take a drum from it. And we made that drum right out of that old stag. It was sick. And we were up on the mountains hiking, me and my girlfriend. We ran smack into a stag that was just sitting there. And usually they'll run, but this one was just sitting there looking at us. So we were respectful, and we turned around and went another way. Came back there the next day, and he was laying there dead. So we went over there and made our prayers, crossing over ceremony. Skinned that thing out, asked its permission, left some tobacco, and we buried that hide in the ground for 3 days. They say, and you put a little wood ash on it, and that takes a lot of the hair follicles off. So I had read a lot because my dad always had kept me our outdoor books and taxidermy books and how to survive in the wilderness, how to start a fire without matches. So I was a little bit, I always rooted for the Indians rather than the Cowboys. And my grandpa said we were native. We were Doeskin was the name, or Deskins. So they changed their name to Deskins because a lot of those Scottish families were grandmothers. You know, they had big families. Matter of fact, I have a cousin that's just talked to me today, and he became my friend. And I hadn't seen him since I was in the 6th grade. And he had 2 older sisters, and that was my Aunt Tay. And she was a Pratt, my mother's side. And they were very compassionate people, so they'd have scalps on these Indians' head. You couldn't own property in West Virginia until the 50s if you were Native American. So everybody was denying that they had anything to do with it. It's like saying I'm a witch. Which, but anyway, I'm grateful to be here. I wanted to light a little sage. It's right here in front of me. Okay. And then we'll get started on that class. Can you hear that music, Bob?
Definitely. Sounds good.
Is it distracting?
No.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Does this make any difference if I'm closer?
Um,
Hello, 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 hello.
you didn't need to make it any. Your sound was very good. Before
Okay.
you started doing anything.
Well, this is an old pottery bowl I bought down in New Mexico. And most people would put that on their shelf. I said, well, I'm going to use that thing. That's a great bowl. That's the vessel. That's the mother, the container. So I don't always do anything, but what I've learned in drum making is it has a beginning and an ending. And that is so satisfying to start something and complete it. And that's how you earn the gifts of these 4 directions, is through volition. This process called volition is will. I will, not I need to, I want to, I might, but maybe someday I will. So it's thy will and my will aligned. So if you're praying for Spirit's will, you become a hollow bone, and then Spirit can work through me. I've been with a lot of women. I'll tell you, I'm a Scorpio, so I was stupid though. I finally had to get a wake-up call and realize that I was ignorant. That's the pig in Buddhism. There's the pig, the cock, and the snake. And the snake is desire. Some say that's Mara's daughters. Many tales of Siddhartha and the Buddha and how the Buddha came. We all have that Buddha nature inside of us. So sometimes we chase love, but we never slow down to find it because we're always going so fast. Everybody's too busy, especially in the city. Get out to Bear Creek and all I've got is a shop out there, and a bunch of buddies and me built it. And I figured if you got a shop, you can build anything. But I had a vision of I won't be around. I don't know how long I'll be around. I just have today. That's what recovery says. But in this west direction, I was one of my gifts is lefting. So I left to the left because I keep a journal all the time, and that's how I do my blogs, and it turned into many books, and I haven't published them. But this is the work of the West, is the mirror work. So you can look at yourself in the mirror, and if you can say, "You did a good job today. You didn't do it perfect, but you left maybe the world a little bit better than what you found it," and that's an attitude of gratitude. And if I get too much into the news, I can get stirred up. One of the gifts of the South direction is anger at injustice, which is the backbone of the four bones. There's four bones you got to keep open. I believe Angela Sarian's one that sorted them this way. She said, you got the wishbone, means what are you wishing for? What are you hoping for? What's your wishbone? That's the turkey. We're moving towards turkey time. So Thanksgiving, the turkey, sharing food together. So I've notoriously had a dinner here for anybody that didn't have any place to go, because I think that's the way. The most generous is the richest in the native way, not the one that has the most. And I was so happy to hear from Jimmy Hughes, who he had two older sisters. Lord, his mother was Thelma, and she married a doctor, and they retired down to the villages in Florida, because that's where everybody retired when they was from West Virginia. Everybody went south, and Myrtle Beach. But my cousin called me and was telling me, he says, "Who's Mandy?" He wanted to know everything. He says, I didn't know anything about your life since I last saw you. So, tell him my story. I think it's important to tell your story, and a good podcaster can bring out the beauty in anyone, because we all have beauty inside of us. We're spiritual beings in a human experience, and a lot of us have been abused and have a hard time holding anything sacred because we don't hold ourselves sacred. But these elders that have taught me say, "You are wakan, you are holy." That's my sponsor says, he's telling me about the steps. He said, a fearless inventory. I could never do a fearless inventory. That's crazy. A fearless and searching moral inventory of yourself. That's one of the steps of AA. It's called the inward journey, which is the West, which is the going within, the mirror, and there's a little sweetgrass. That's the in-breath. I breathe in, and the sage removes the negative. The sweetgrass calls in the positive. It's the breath. So I've got a nice little routine going. I love this, having an air conditioner. And Mandy doesn't like air conditioning, and she's coming in on the 10th of September, and to see me. And I'm glad that she's coming, because I love her very much. And she's been over in England more than she's been here, because she's got grandkids over there. I understand that. I don't have any grandkids. I'm an uncle. So I know all of her grandkids, I'm Mr. Duck to them.
I'm just a duck.
So I talk like a duck to them, Uncle Pat, talk like a duck. So I had nieces and nephews, and I was always duck. Now I'm an Oregon duck. We're out here where the ducks are. But I've got a quote on my website saying that one thing that separates spirituality from business is competition. Competition means if you define competition as there's only one prize and we got to compete for that one prize. And there can be only one winner. But in other cultures, they say to compete is to finish together. So that's kind of like the Waldorf way. And Waldorf education, because I had stepkids that went to Waldorf, and I put my daughter through Montessori. And it's such beautiful ways to learn. I wish I'd have been, they beat my butt with a paddle. That's like when I was a kid. Spare the rod and spoil the child. And my grandma would say, you go get me a switch. And I'd come back with this little bitty stick. That's not a switch, you go get me a switch. So they'd a little bit of difference, and I wasn't ready to learn anything, then, school was ridiculous. I hadn't learned anything. I was a scared little boy. And, but I know I have real fond memories of all my childhood. I can go back, and they used to say that there's only today, there's never been tomorrow or yesterday. They're just visions. If you do your best today and forgive everybody, this is the green corn ceremonies in the West. And that's when the whatever you planted is starting to green. Not ready for harvest yet, it's the greening time. And so if you have a garden, you want to water that garden. So that Tara has all the earth signs and all the water signs are compatible. But you got air and fire, which the air feeds the fire. So you get an air sign and a fire sign. They have a lot of passion going there, but also a lot of anger. So anyway, I'm walking around that wheel, and me making drums, making these drums as I do, this in the four directions, starting with myself, like say, what do I want in my life? What do I want to create? So, and what is Spirit's will for me? Not just me, my. And I say, well, just tell your story. Just be real. You love improv. And Bill Wilson says, we're only as sick as our secrets. So. But this is a completion. I go all the way around this drum and then tie it off. I smudge it. And I put this beautiful elk wrapped handle on it. I say, wow, that's an amazing product. And I say, when you quit singing and you quit dancing, you know your soul's lost. So, back where I was from, they had line dancing. They had square dancing, they had all kinds of dancing. Because most of those people that came to the hills of West Virginia were coal miners, and they all came from Ireland, and a lot of them came from Ireland and England, Wales, and Scotland. And they knew how to mine coal over there, because that's where it all started, over in the British Isles, the coal mining. And now they had, my dad was in the coal business. My brother's in the coal business. So I'm grateful I came from West Virginia, but I'm grateful I'm out here now because I've got a beautiful piece of property with a creek, with a stream running right by it. It's full of trout, crystal clear crawdads. I was a fly fisherman. And I'll say it's hard to separate religion from fly fishing. So just being in nature, and if I'm out there long enough, I start coming home to where my heart is. So, up in Washington, they have these funerals where you can get a tree planted over your body. I say, what a great way to go. Let some tree come over my body. One of the books we teach from is The Sacred Tree. It's like, and let me go over a few of these gifts of the West, which is the mirror, the reflection, the going within time, the going down time. Like in Ireland, they've got the holy wells, the wells, so you have to go down. Oh, this is the descent. This is Carl Jung's. The brighter the light, the darker the shadow. So if we're going to manifest essence, we have to look at our what we don't like about ourselves. And that's why we do these ceremonies, to go in there and burn away, because we forget that we're all perfectly beautiful people. And sometimes we get abused and then we abuse somebody else. And abused is, rather than use it, you abuse it. So learning how to use plants like sage, sweetgrass, bare root. I just had some lavender to calm me down. I don't want to drink too much coffee because I only weigh 115 pounds, and I think I could drink as much as I used to. I weighed 150 pounds, and now I'm much smaller, but I still have that mind that I have to have more. So I'm learning to pay attention to my body, and I'm also learning attention of patience, of just do a little bit each day. It's a cinch by the inch. Used to be I'd procrastinate and put things off until the last minute. And then, but I'm starting to get into that energy of the turtle, which is often associated with the South. We're on Turtle Island. Angeles Arians say the South is the healer. That's the feminine. The healer. And the West is the teacher. And its medicine is silence. So it's when I shut my mouth and just listen to nature, I start getting little signals. Wow, where have you been? That's home for me. But being up there and thinking I had me some secure property because it was a private road and nobody could come over it except us, the people that owned lots over there. When they wanted that wood, they just bullied their way across and then made it to where I can't get to the other side of the road except in two places, and I can't get up to my upper property. It's just a pain in the butt. And they said, well, you won't see anybody for 40 years, and they didn't put any load limits on that bridge. And We almost had a fire up there. Bob helped me rescue myself. I have a burned out lawnmower caught on fire. I tend to run things until they break and say, you ought to start learning to take a little bit better care of your equipment. So I'm doing it. I'm out there learning about car engines because my brother had all the mechanical know-how. He could fix anything. He's rebuilding a 1930-some Armstrong, and but I think he's getting ready to go home because he's. I like to call him, but he doesn't know where he is half the time. He's kind of got dementia. But he's been 2 tours of Vietnam, and he's got real good veterans. He's a retired colonel, lives down in Texas. And, I went down there for a year and helped. He's a Methodist. I organized the Methodist church and went over, saw the Bass brothers were members of the biggest Methodist church in Dallas. So I got to go. I lived in Fort Worth, and then I lived over in Brownwood and Aldersgate Enrichment Center, and it was a beautiful place that a dream that my brother had, and he manifested. So what a beautiful gift that is. And I've manifested Cedar Mountain drums, sometimes known as Cedar Mountain drama, because if I'm waiting till the last minute and just running here and running there, I don't have time to slow down. But I'm learning I can do that anywhere I am. I don't have to be any one place to do that. Just be myself. That's just relax and the spirit will come in. The unknown is west. Going into the unknown. Sometimes they call that walking in the gray clouds of not knowing. That's something close to the Bardos. So I don't know where I'm going, but I'm lost. That's that beautiful song, Amazing Grace. I once was lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now I see. That's how you see with a different set of eyes than these 2 eyes here. It's your 3rd eye. So the West is also, in the male type, is it's the mystic, it's the magician. The magician. So the magic of life. So the mind can only go so far, and then you have to let go. The world's full of educated fools. Chop wood, carry water. So I feel good about myself today. I didn't have much of an agenda, but if you're going to earn the gifts of these directions, you have to have first clarity of intention. Like, what's your intention? In Buddhism, it's called right view. Right view. All the other eightfold path out of suffering is based on right view. Well, in recovery, that's how you develop an attitude of gratitude. And what do you got to be grateful for today? We're always looking at what's not working. And sometimes we get too caught into the negative. And just to slow down like today. I didn't have any customers and I was so tickled. Mandy's the one that suggested that. I was open 7 days a week and not doing near as much as business I am now. So sometimes if you don't seek, it'll come right to you. It's like cats. Cats are different than dogs. They lie down on different ley lines, and my wife's a cat, so she's beautiful. I'll make the space for her, and she might come. She is coming. I'm grateful for any time I have with her. Expectations, they're planned resentments. So, volition has goal setting, is the second step. Well, today I'm gonna cut out those kits and cut out the lacing. And I was able to do that, and I was like, wow, that feels pretty good. Because I got this big order for this tribe back in Maine, $5,000. I said, I hope you're not in any hurry for it. And he said, no, we're not. So I'm taking my time rather than making a mistake and rushing. That's learning to mosey, learning to be on Indian time, which is when my little girl left the house, I took my watch off. And I love that because I wake up when I wake up. And it's usually early because I go to bed early. And I woke up this morning about 4, so maybe a little before 4. And I had my coffee set at 4. So I usually stay in bed until I hear that coffee pot going. But I say thank you for another day. And I'm about 8 feet away from my hot tub. So it's been hot out here, I tell you. It's been in the hundreds. And dry. And I had an orchid that somebody brought me, and I thought it was dead. I started watering it, and it came back another bloom. So I said, wow, it's amazing if I water myself, I'll feel a lot better. And I've been practicing juggling. I was reading, I used to have a typewriter, so I'd type things out. You didn't have computers back then. And I still have some of those typewritten pages of this workshop I went to when I came back from West Virginia to Oregon. This time I was sober. I was here drunk before. And I said, Creator, I'm returning to the scene of the crime. Please help me. And I get this call from this late stage alcoholism treatment center. We're looking for somebody to help us raise money. I said, I'm just the guy you're looking for. I said, right there's the answer. So I can lend a hand and help some other people that are, because this organization wouldn't take you unless you didn't have any money. So I said, well, I'll help you. And they want me to be on the board. I said, everybody wants a fundraiser on their board. But I agreed to be on the board. I helped them raise $1.5 million to buy that old hotel they was living in. Now they're one of the biggest organizations in Portland, helping the down and out. And Portland sure has changed. And the world keeps on changing. I heard an AA talk down in Dallas. No, it wasn't Dallas, it was Fort Worth. They have a club down there. Everywhere I went, I'd go to an AA meeting and I'd have friends. So you got friends wherever you go. So I heard this Texas Ranger. He says, there ain't no big deals and there ain't no big wheels. And for some reason, that just hit me between the eyes, because I'd always thought if you had a lot of money, I was afraid of you, because I was afraid of wealth. So having a healthy attitude about it, what an inventory is, it means I have positives and I have negatives. And so we do these classes just to kind of prepare you for ceremony. I've done ceremony, in a sweat lodge with men and women, and for 25 years, carried a pipe. Now I think I am the pipe. Those are just symbols. The symbols to help you get connected with your yin and your yang, which is the pipe, which is the bowl is the woman, it's red, like the blood, and the stem is the masculine. It's just like the drumstick is the masculine, the drum is feminine. So when you join the two together, whatever you pray for will be given. So when they do ceremony, they always join the pipes and keep them lit but not smoked until the ceremony's over and people praying for you. So you have to have a giveaway. So it's a big sacrifice to do a ceremony like that. I didn't know what I was supposed to do, but I love making drums. And I went to my business friends and says, what do you think about me buying and getting in the drum business? I think you're crazy as hell. So I said, who in the hell's going to buy drums, Boy Scouts? So I did it anyway, and they came back to me and said, boy, you proved us wrong. I owe you an apology. So you made it happen with a little help from my friends. But when you find what you love to do, it's not work. It's hard to tell. Is he working? The master in the art of living makes little distinction between his work and his play and his leisure and his prayer. That's the balance. It's saying thank you just once a day. That's a prayer. Let me go through a few more of these gifts that I pray for. It's going within time. It's dreams. Listening to the dreams, deep inner thoughts, the testing of the will. I think if you say, I'm going to do that, there will be tests. So the perseverance, that's a gift of the West. Just like Bear Creek, it doesn't say, I'm going to stop, I'm tired. It just keeps right on rolling. So it's stick-to-itiveness. That means the ability to stay with something until it's complete. That's consolidation of power. See, the West is more this time of day. This is getting ready to die when I go to sleep tonight. That's going back to spirit. And then if I'm lucky, I'll wake up and I'll have a new day. But just try to leave this one like I've already made my coffee for tomorrow. There's no dishes in the sink. And I say, well, just do it one day at a time. Don't let things accumulate. Daily prayer, meditation, fasting, reflection. That's the mirror. Narcissus went down to the lake and looked at his own reflection and says, boy, I'm beautiful. And the lake thought it was looking at her, and all the other forest creatures were jealous because lake was getting all the attention. So if we love ourselves, that love will radiate out. It's not self-absorbed. There's no such thing as. All love is based on self-love, taking loving care of myself in mind, body, spirit, and emotions. I feel, I'm sad, I'm angry, whatever you are, it's learning. The West is the emotions, it's soul, reflection, contemplation, silence. That's Link's medicine, they say. Bob, when he's here, we always draw a card from the tarot deck, the animals speak, and we see what the cards have in for us. It's the magical side, not just all logical. But Link's is, I have one in my bedroom. I sometimes sleep with it. It's silence. It's the knower of knowledge. It's the difference between believing something and knowing it. And them that don't know speak all the time, and them that know usually remain silent. So, Alan Watts it's really hard to talk about things that you can't define. It's like it's undefinable. So if you can put words to it, it's not spirit, but you can play music and you can write poetry. That's the closest you can come. Retrospectiveness, that's looking at myself rather than everybody outside of me. Retrospectiveness. Respect for the elders. Well, I'm the elder here, so my buddy Bob's respecting me. He hadn't interrupted me yet. And spiritual respect for spiritual struggles and for other beliefs. It's respect for the elders, respect for spiritual struggles of others. And some people are really struggling. You have respect for them too. I struggle too. So in recovery, they say when the hand reaches out, I'm able to respond. It means I have empathy. I know how you feel because I've been there. But some people want a hand out, not a hand. So sometimes knowing when you're helping someone is checking them out. Like when people call one in my store, I says, "What do you want?" And there's a big pause. Well, you want to browse? Well, browse, get on your browser. But I'm open. I can tell you if I have what you're looking for. But if you give me a key to your house and let me go browse your house, so if my shop's in my home and I live right above the store. I was dumb enough to make a good investment in this piece of property with its headaches. Sacrifice humility, which is one of the big ones. Give the credit to others. Lord, I've left my own devices. I don't know how in the hell I've been in business 30 some years by myself, never worked for anybody else. I work with people, but I don't work for them. It's like herding cats. Love of Creator, commitment to self, commitment to yourself. 720. commitment to a higher knowledge than just your head, and a commitment to a moral code. Like, she's got the morals of an alley cat. It's like, what is morals to you? What do you hold sacred? What do you value? We do that exercise in class too, where you really explore what's sacred to you, what's holy. Ceremony is part of this, is whether it's a church ceremony or whether it's a sweat lodge ceremony or it's just praying in your own room on an altar. But it helps to have two or more clear self-knowledge, vision of potentialities. So those are some of the gifts of the West direction, which is we're not entitled to them. We have to work for them, and sometimes we'll look at them and say, that's not a gift, but then the further you go on a spiritual path, the narrower the path gets. So it's called the eye of the needle. So that's the third day on a vision quest when your throat's closing and you think you're dying. You make this breakthrough and you realize, wow, there's a whole new world over here. But most people don't know what it is. It's like taking the fifth step of AA. It was admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being, the exact nature of our pluses and minuses. It's an inventory, but you don't just do it yourself. You got to have a partner that you talk to or a trusted friend. That's confession. That's what the confessional is all about. But who's sitting behind that curtain? You know, somebody that you trust. And all trust leads from trusting myself. And how you get those is first step is attention or intention, attention. And how I practice this is I love ping pong. Mandy and I play ping pong. And we play with both hands. And we don't try to hit the ball away from each other, we hit it to each other. So volition is perseverance, is where am I hitting the ball? Am I hitting it away from somebody or am I hitting it to someone? And how am I paying attention or giving attention? So that's a great way to develop your attending. What are you tending to? Tending to the ball. It's always my ball, and it's always her ball, so watch it. And that's part of meditation. That's part of active meditation. So there's many ways that we can meditate. Walking meditations, lying meditation, sitting meditation, or standing meditation. So we have persistence, perseverance. That's the other one. Don't stop. If you get in the flow, just go with the flow. If you do it because you think you have to, or it's on the time clock, that's. I had a flute maker that tell me, he says, I never go into my shop if I've had a fight with my wife, if my energy isn't clean. I don't want to be around those drums and creating some beauty, or at least in creating something completed, go all the way around. So we're in the west, so we're going towards the north, towards the winter solstice, the autumn equinox. This is the Holly King, moving towards Yule. All the mythology around the winter solstice, the dark night of the soul. That's one form is that's when the king has to dance naked between Yule and New Year's, the festival of fools where all classes are leveled, everybody's equal. So the many of these traditional holidays like back to school, Labor Day, they're for our wounded warriors. I'm grateful to. I was listening to Bernie Sanders talk. He's back in Mingo County, West Virginia. My gosh, that's where my people are from. I'm a lifeguard up in Mingo County, West Virginia, and I know those people well. And Bernie was up there talking. And what a beautiful thing that is to see, because they all really loved him. And he's right down with the people, so he's making a difference. I like old Bernie. He's an elder I respect. I don't agree with all his premises, but I think he's got a lot of courage and do something to clean up that mess in Washington D.C. But it'll right itself. This too will pass. It always does. When you're right in the middle of it, when you're up to your ass in alligators, it's hard to remember you got there to drain the swamp. so my uncle used to say, if there ain't no crisis, create one. Because people don't respond to a good idea. There has to be a crisis. All jobs are going away, I hate to tell you guys. They got these machines that are going to take over, artificial intelligence. I think it's good to find something you like to do. Make that shift from working for to working with people. That's what AA does. You got to give it away to keep it. You can't hold on to anything. Hell, I don't know how longer I'll live, but I want to make a difference. It's philanthropy. It's the love of humankind. Giving. Who's the giving for? It's for me. Bob and I've read that book, Lynn Twist, The Soul of Money.
Yeah.
And there's 3 spells we need to break. There's not enough. If I only had more, my life would be different. There's not enough. That's the first spell. Second spell is, well, if I just had more, I'd be in great shape. It's like the Artful Dodger in, please, sir, can I have some more? What? So, the last one is, well, more is better, that's just the way it is. Rather than say that's just the way I am, we go into this it. That's the way it is. So there's spells around money, but the true joy is helping others, not hoarding. My God. I mean, the world's richest man has more money than what's he gonna do with it? Have a bunch more kids? He's a genius, but I think everybody's got their genius. And we're all unique. We all have our own special. Bob's great at going meeting strangers and bringing out their beauty. That's such a great thing to do. It's if you don't have expectations. Now I got him a subscription to Parabola, and I ended up with all the Scientific Americans and and the Buddhist journals. And so I always studied mythology because I thought that was just as valid as scientific, the science. I was an arts major, master of the arts, rehab counseling. So I'm saving all my rawhide because I want to get it to the prisoners because they have powwows in the prisons and they're rehabilitating themselves. And I've been to prisons giving talks and doing drum circles. And I say, but you know, you got to do it by yourself and you can't do it alone. That's the paradox of I get by with a little help from my friends. No person can do it. Like that's why we have journeying circles. When somebody journeys for you, you don't journey for yourself. Usually the answer comes through your best friend or somebody that knows who you are. Like, I've been blessed, sometimes feels cursed, being with the same guys for 37 years. We've been meeting, going fishing together, going rafting together, all sorts of things, going to the beach. And we've been together many, many years. And I'm the oldest one in the group. And they're all complaining. And I said, you know, I had a sponsor that I chose. He says, if you find somebody that wants something you want and you ask them if they'd be your guide. Well, he gave me a test. He says, you go to 90 meetings in 90 days and come back and see me. If you don't come back and see me. So he wanted to see if I was willing to go to any length. I had 1,000 reasons I couldn't go to 90 meetings in 90 days. But I said, well, my way ain't working. So I'm willing. So when life brings you to your knees, you might find it's a good place to pray. So that's what I saw in this church down there in Fort Worth. If you're too proud to admit you're hurting, don't be surprised if nobody seems to care. So I ask people how they're doing, and say, fine. I'm fine. Jesus Christ, what's that? Or they say, not bad. That's not how you're doing. That's how you're not doing. It's so funny if I listen to the news and I listen to how much we're fighting everything. We're fighting wars, we're fighting Democrats are fighting the Republicans, fighting cancer, fighting all the weather, and we don't say. You know, I wouldn't know any of that stuff if I didn't have that thing that she's spouting off negative news. But I could tell you my news, which I pretty much did today. So that's what the Lake Wobegon. Remember that one? How is it from Lake Wobegon? I'm having a rough day, or I'm having a wonderful day. That's funny how people react to that question, how are you? And stick their hand out. And I'll stick my left hand out. And so I remember that thing says, nice, went out with the some other. Being real is what I'm interested in. What's real? There's so many hacks. I don't like to get on the computer much. It's about 95% I get is not orders. It's me wanting to buy this or buy that. And, but I can handle it, and I believe that Creator sends us angels, teachers. If you're living a spirit-fed life, these people will come in and tell you exactly what you needed to hear. So, anyway, it's 20 minutes left. Bob's been to many of my classes. I've read The Gifts of the West. Let's see, the volition. It's first steps: attention, intention, goal setting, initiating action, perseverance, and completion. Those are the steps of volition. It's like I used to run about 7 miles about 3 times a week, and I'd go out jogging up Forest Park. I was living over in Northwest. I'm not going to run today. I'm just going to take a walk. When I started, I could go, but the hardest step was that first one. We get stuck. They say, what you're most afraid of, move towards. I don't care if they name, I think Trump ought to be the king. Make him the king. That's, doesn't make any difference to me. I can still be happy. I just do my best today. What you got to say, brother? I'm sure you do. About all this. Bob Hall?
Yes?
You're up.
I'm up. Okay. Well, for me, this is one of those mornings that I did a lot of drumming in the morning. And I was really looking at the aspect of how do I, because I really believe it's really in my bones that universal love is the secret to all of our problems. Now, that's different than the familiar love that we have. But I run across, and I really have to work hard on it. And I felt really good this morning about, okay, I got some insights. And it's where, I'll back up just a little bit. My mantra as far as gratitude is I just start thanking the universe for sharing the mysteries of the Webb telescope, all of that with us, seeing billions of miles away, and all of that, and the earth that got created, and the craziness of the human race, and the beauty of the human race, all of that stuff I can say I love. But I always run into this trouble with a Putin, a Trump, whoever. And I came to it where I made thank you and I love you my mantra. And I did that, and I've been doing that for quite a while. And it really feels good. And I know that I go someplace when I really get into that mantra that I don't know what the place is, but I also know it's so powerful for me. I can't stay there. It just my breath kicks me out, with it, to sort of let a little pressure off the pot. But anyhow, so that's where I was, and I was really feeling good about that. And because I came to the conclusion, what I really need to get over the Trump issue is change my mantra to I love you, Trump, etc., etc. But also I have to bring in the victims of like in sexual abuse victims or whatever. He has victims all over the place, but whatever it is, I need to be more real about I loving the Trump. I have to bring in all the victims of Trump in, and that's where it opens up to yes. It just made the world bigger for me to bring them in and to call on for Trump to see what hurt you did, and also to call on the victims and to see what misery these people that do that stuff, how they are just the most wounded animals in the world. I wouldn't trade a ton of diamonds for 1 second in their brain, the suffering that they have to be going through. So that helped me out. And then this morning, for some reason, I was getting ready to go. I had a couple of errands to run, and I heard some news that just brought me right down. And that's where I am today. I've come back up, sitting in the meeting, listening to all of this stuff, knowing the people that will hear it. Uh, I don't, people that know me know I don't stay in that kind of whatever you want to call it, stress for too long. And anyhow, so that's where I am, and it feels good. It's, but it's a work in process for me to get to that because, like I said, I know in my bones, I know I have to love everybody on the universal love. So that's sort of what's alive for me today.
It's like that card somebody sent me. Jesus loves you. And I opened it up and said, the rest of us thinks you're an asshole.
Oh, that's right. Exactly. I've seen that card. I love it.
So it's but in the Titan realm of Buddhism, that's all that is. That's
Yeah.
they can have everything they want except happiness.
Yeah. But but there's a real suffering associated with their actions. And I want Trump to heal, but he can't heal.
That's one of the realms of suffering, is the Titan realm.
Yeah, yeah. Just want to say it is that he has to be able to empathize with his victims.
Well, he doesn't have to do anything.
Well, sure, I know, I understand that. Uh,
Let sleeping dogs lie. Nothing real is ever threatened. So loving kindness is,
but starvation is a threat to the existence.
well,
So there are threats out there that are real.
I know I have compassion and I pray for those people.
Yeah.
Part of my
So,
prayer.
that's all you can.
There's a serenity prayer too.
Right. No, I understand that one.
Accept the things I can't change.
But I I don't accept that I can't change that.
You do change that.
And so I do change it with all
Loving
these
kindness.
trying to bring myself up through this process of where I can
Yes.
truly say I love Trump and mean it.
You don't have to like them, but
I
you
don't,
don't love him.
no, I don't think I have to like him. But
I,
that, and
I
I'm
wouldn't.
also, I'm talking about a love that I don't even understand, but I know it's the universal love of this whole universe.
Well, that's the agape love. That's the love of the sun shines on everything. The light. That's
Yeah,
it's like just watch him play around the golf. You'll know who he is.
that's right.
But see, they want to keep all that secret. And
Yeah.
I believe the king ought to dance naked. That's part. Uh,
But
these fat cats that don't do anything except wear their little three-piece suits. I used to be a stockbroker in New York, so I know that drill,
yeah,
and I saw through it. Although I became a good alcoholic there, because they like to drink their martinis at 10 o'clock in the morning, and their life revolves around alcohol. But Trump doesn't drink, so it makes it even more dangerous. So they call those dry drunks.
yeah.
Dry drunks. They're not happy, but they're not drinking. So we are sure Creator wants us to be happy, joyous, and free. That's one of the promises of AA. It says, I can't take anything with me, so don't let the sun set on my wrath. If I don't like somebody, tell them. That takes courage. Also takes somebody with a little backbone.
Yeah.
Well, I think you have to have all those bones, the funny bone,
Yeah.
the backbone, the wishbone. I ain't the man I want to be, but thank God I'm not the man I used to be. I'm a work in progress, and sometimes it feels like I can't go any further. I can't listen. I can't do anything. I'm got to ride this one out. That's
But,
what I'm talking about, walking in the gray clouds
yeah.
of not
But
knowing.
but that's one of the things that I've gone back, I've heard it for a long time. It's been part of my repertoire of honoring it, but it is the impeccable warrior.
Yes, yes,
You-
that was
Bringing that in brings to be impeccable, you have to be impeccable to yourself. I mean, that's probably the only real impeccable you know.
that's it. To thine own self be true.
Yes.
Don't let
And
the sun set on your wrath.
yeah, and all of that. And it's realizing that giving is receiving. And then
Well,
and
that's right. And you can't fool all the people all the time. You might think you can,
mm,
but what goes up must come down. So,
yeah,
that's gravity. That's it's sad to see some of the stuff that goes on, but I was over in Findhorn, Scotland when I had a vision that there's going to be a lot of destruction, a lot of people dying, and Eileen Caddy, she's the one that's such a beautiful woman. Taught you how to grow food. You got food, shelter, and water. You're home free. That's.
yeah.
I mean, I thought but if they want something, they can bully you right over. But they haven't done it to me. I'm grateful. So I just do a good job today. I think we have, Bob.
All right.
Uh, Sometimes I go in and lay on my on my pad in there that has, it's from Korea. It heats and it's got crystals in it. So I just practice that breathing from my belly and that 4-7-8 breath.
Mhm.
So I get too much in my head. But you have those tools too.
Yeah.
But sometimes my friends remind me of what I knew, but I forgot. So
Yeah.
that's what friends are for. They put you back on the road, and boy, if you got a few friends, you're a rich man.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm going to close this up because I'm sleepy. But I think we covered some of the gifts of the West direction and what volition is, which, boy, I got a store. It's looking so good. I want to do a video tour of it and say, you don't have to buy toys from China. You can make something. That's the most
Good idea.
that's the most beautiful gift you can receive is somebody that handcrafted it.
Yeah.
That's that's your maps and whatever your skill is, offer it to the world. And
Yeah.
I'd like to thank my brother Bob for being here. I was here by myself last week, but I did fine.
You did fine.
I listened to Alan Watts, and he's got lecture. I like to listen to him, but he's
Yeah.
smart.
Yeah. He was one of the first guys that I read that sort of said, started clicking with me.
Yeah,
What's uh, Alan? He goes way back. Is he still alive?
he does.
Is he still
Son,
alive?
no, he isn't. But his son's running the show now. So
Ah,
maybe all. Who knows? Okay, what I'm going to do is say good night and
good
wish
night.
everybody a beautiful night, a healthy night, and we'll see you next week, hopefully.
Okay.
I'm going to turn this recording off. Stop